In this video, we will be teaching you how to solve a 3x3 Rubik's Cube and covering all cases and steps for this Rubik's Cube. So, let's go. So now you have your cross here, right? So the first step is you're going to want to find this yellow centerpiece, and you're going to want to find a white edge piece, and you want to line them all up to make a thing called the daisy, like this, with yellow in the center and 4 white edges on the end. So what we do here is we have another white piece, and see, we can't just move it up. But what we can do is we can move it out there, right? Opening that spot up right there, moving the cube back up. And then we have another piece. We can do that same thing, opening up a spot. And then right here, we have our last piece. It looks like we can move it up. And then we've solved our daisy. Now, after we solve the daisy, we want to move on to the actual cross itself. So what we do is we want to find a piece, a white edge piece, and see how it has the color orange on it. And we want to align it with the orange center. But this is the red center. So what we do is we move it around the top layer, trying to find the orange center. And now we found it, right? So there. And now we find the next one. There's green. And then red and blue are lined up. And now you have your right cross. The next step after the cross is solving the white corners. So, as you can see here, we have a solved corner just as an example. It should be a white corner with the edge, with the corner pieces matching the center colors. So what we do next is we find another corner piece and line it up in between the two centers. So here we have white with orange and green. And here we have green and orange, right? So we want to move it in between these two centers right here. And then we want to do our first algorithm. This algorithm goes R, U, R prime, U prime. So there is our first algorithm. And now we want to find another corner. It looks like this one is lined up. So R, U, R prime, U prime. But here, so it might not work every time. So it can take a total of 6 times doing this R, U, R prime, U prime. But then here, we have another corner solved, right? And then right over here, we just do that again. It's not quite in, not quite in. And we have solved our white face. The next step after solving the white face is to solve the first 2 layers, which basically means you make all the pairs like this, and make that all around, solving basically a white side and then 2 layers. So we have, we want to first try to find a pair on the top layer. So for example, green and orange is right here. So what we want to do next is we want to hold that green and orange on the front and the right, and make sure that edge piece is in the left, like this. So then we do this algorithm, R, U, R prime, U prime. Then we move the cube this way, and then we do L prime, U prime, L, right? And then that forms our first piece. What could also happen is you do that algorithm, right? That piece is lined up, and this happens, right? So basically all you have to do is you have to do that again, turn the layer once, and then you basically just do that piece again. So now we don't have any pieces on our top, right? So what we do is we want to take a piece out, which is basically doing that same algorithm as before, and now you have a piece on the top. So remember, we're solving blue and orange, and we have blue and orange right here, so in the left, and the front, and the back, or no, the front and the right, and then we do this algorithm to solve it, and we have just our last piece here, and now you've solved your first 2 layers. The next step is to solve the top cross. So there are a few cases for this. The first one being no yellow cross pieces on the top. So what you do is this, F prime, R, U, R prime, U prime, F prime, sorry. And then you make sure you have these pieces aligned like this, and then you do that again. And then you still haven't formed your cross, so you do that again. And now you have your top cross. What could also happen is you just have a straight line here, so you want to hold it like this, and then you do that algorithm again, and then you only have to do it once. The last case is having these 2 pieces here, and then you just do that algorithm twice. So the next step is to line all of these top edges with the center. So we want to turn the top layer, right, there's 1 edge, but we want to have 2 edges. There should always be 2 edges, so like right here, for example. So what we do is hold them in the front, or the back, and the right, and then we do this algorithm. It goes R, U, R prime, U, R, U2, R prime. And then you turn the layer once, and then you've solved those little edges there, and then, yeah. So the next step, and the second to last step to solving a 3x3, is to solve these corners in their centerpieces. So we don't have any corners solved, so what we do is we'd hold the cube from any direction, and we do this algorithm. It goes like this. And now we have a corner lined up. It doesn't have to be solved. It could be like this, right? It could be like that, for example. But we want it, it doesn't really matter. And by the way, never twist a corner. It's just, it'll mess up the solve and you'll kind of be screwed. But here, so then we do that algorithm again, making sure this piece is right here and on the front. And now we have aligned all our corners and even solved few. So now the last step of the 3x3 is to solve these corners, which is basically doing RU, R prime, U prime, or, yep. And then you do that, and then once you have a solved corner, you move the bottom layer into that bar, and you solve it again, and then you can probably figure out that it's just one turn.